Welcome, rejects, to the 5-star rated podcast right here in Pennsylvania, the Full Send Rejects. We're your host. I'm Kodak.
And I'm Rose.
Oh, Billy.
We are kicking off the spring season with an episode where, as you know, things get worse. Despite someone's best efforts to claim his innocence, we talk about the sexual predator that is Jerry Sandusky. Billy talks more about the Molly Maguires, where a fan is waiting patiently. And Rose talks about childhood trauma because why not? But first, as always, let's dive into our pre-topic banter.
Wait, who's waiting?
Remember when we did the interviews for Sharp Mountain?
Yeah.
What's her name? Rachel, I believe. One of the girls we talked to, she was making comments that she really enjoyed your take on the Molly Maguires, and she is looking forward to what you come up with this week.
Oh, well, I'm sorry in advance.
It's okay, Bill. We have some more things. As you say, often you find out things about this podcast on this podcast. So we have some guests coming up on future bonus episodes.
Yeah, cool.
I figured it'd be easy if we just caught you up now. So as
This works.
hey, don't fuck with the script, all right? So as we know, that Rose caught on to today, Jordan's coming on next week to talk Nazi stuff. Not the good way. Not in a good way. But we're
I
doing
should
our
probably
little
talk to him about that.
okay. Sometime soon he's going to be on. Our fan Cooney and our social media warrior Cooney.
My man.
He messaged me today, and he wants to come on and talk about how psychedelics can be helpful for people with trauma and mental illness and stuff like that.
So he's going to need some psychedelics after hearing today's episode.
Yeah, probably. And then
Ask him about that.
yeah, he wants to do that. And then we have there's a new restaurant that opened up here up in Pittston, and I figured, what the hell? Let's go message them, and eventually, if they start getting everything up and running, they want someone come on here and talk about the restaurant and the restaurant business and stuff like that, and are letting us go in there and do wiener reviews for them since we talked about that last year.
No shit. Look at us making moves.
They seem pretty cool, pretty neat. I think they open up after Easter, so yeah, I'll have to figure out a time and place to do that. I guess we do know the place, but
summertime review.
So I think that catches you and the listeners up what's coming up for the bonus episodes besides drunken shenanigans or beer baits and whatnot.
The usual fuckery.
The usual tomfoolery, tomfuckery. There we go, tomfuckery. I like that word.
The dipshittery.
Dipshittery. I love it. Dipshittery and tomfuckery. But moving on, today as we record is baseball's opening day.
The best day of the year.
Billy, how'd the Yankees do?
They won.
Pirates just won too. Hey, babe, how'd the Rays do? So guess what? They got their ass kicked 8-2. Wanna know how I know? Because all those times you give me shit when I bet against your team. I'm like, let me throw the Rays into a parlay with the Yankees and the Pirates. The only team that was favored to win out of those three was the Rays, and they got their asses smoked.
They sure did.
Rays the Jolly Roger.
Typical Kodak, always talking shit when the Pirates are doing good, but let's see this energy in 4 weeks.
All right. We might have 4 more wins by then.
Or you may just be sitting here bitching about how Pittsburgh once again let you down and breaks your heart.
See, the Pirates don't let me down because there are no expectations.
You say that every year, but every year you just get a little more disappointed in them.
It's true. I see the spark leave your eyes a little more each year.
Yeah. There's no twinkle.
I have issues. I'm sorry, okay?
It comes around football time, and then it's gone again.
See, the problem is usually what's going to help right now is usually like Villanova, 76ers, and Penguins are also doing really well. So I'm like riding that high, and the Buccos just come in and just take it out. That's not happening this year. They all suck.
Nope, complete opposite.
Yep, we're just in pain now. That's all it is. If the Buccos do good this year, I'll be excited. Rich Jolly Roger, they won in extra innings. It was an awesome game. I know the Yankees had a comeback. Rays.
Juan Soto saved the fucking game.
We'll be back.
Yeah,
Oh.
You talk shit now.
Franco won't be back.
Not Franco. No, no, no. No, no, no.
Did they find him yet?
So today he was officially put on some administrative leave list or something. Court proceedings proceed, I guess. Basically, he's not on the team, but like if he's cleared and he's actually innocent, then like they still have his rights, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
His rights, but will he still have a green card?
That might be more tricky. Well, actually, athletes just get that. They don't have green cards. They have like all different,
visa.
different. Yeah,
Different visa.
it's like a work visa, but something else. It's similar to a work visa. It's like the same shit Justin Bieber has. He doesn't have a visa. It's like some you can get them based. Oh, it's like culture, sport, or something else. You can get a visa.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. It's an exciting time for sports. Opening day for baseball. March Madness is down to the Sweet 16. A lot of chaos. Hockey is almost at the playoffs.
Yeah,
A
with
lot
the
of violence.
Penguins doing shitty, I just don't care.
Yeah, I kind of dropped off. I mean, it's not good. It's more sad than anything.
Sure is. They'll get a lead and then blow it.
Yeah, well, that's been par for the course lately. But speaking of blowing a lead, this weekend is the celebration of when the Jews lost the lead to the Christians. Easter.
That's one way of putting it.
The second coming.
Listen, I'll just every year on Easter, I just always remind myself that I don't understand why the church, especially the far right, have issues with homosexuals when Jesus came out 3 days after being nailed by 4 men. It escapes me.
You
I'm
definitely used that joke last Easter too.
I use it every Easter.
You use it for a lot of things.
Yeah, it's listen, comes around and I have to use it, okay? At least this time I don't know. A little bit.
You set yourself up.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be celebrated. It's not very often that a man can come twice.
I mean, when there's 3 days separate, I mean 3 day separation. I hope you can do it twice.
That's a long rest.
I'm trying to smoke a joint, man. You're killing me.
Do you have anything special that you do for Easter there, Billy?
He's a Jew. He doesn't do it. He celebrates.
I go to my mom's. She makes a lot of salad stuff.
Do you have a favorite Easter meal?
My mom's pasta
Like
salad.
Pasta salad.
pasta salad?
My mom's pasta salad is fucking dope.
So is she good at tossing salad?
Wait, mother, I don't know.
Why? She makes a good pasta salad. I'm just curious. Like, what kind of techniques does she like
Just stop while you're
just
ahead.
get in there or like
What's your favorite thing to eat on Easter?
toss salad? Ham.
The ham.
Yeah. Gotta have some Easter ham.
Cole wants to make a Easter dessert. I already told him I'm making banana pudding, but he is so excited to make something with Peeps and the Cadbury eggs.
Do we eat ham on Easter because Jews can't have pork and it's like a middle finger for taking out our guy? What? I'm just curious. Like, is that Billy? You're the Jew.
Uh,
Tell me.
I don't know how it works, man. For some
Oh,
reason, one
okay.
year my family had a turkey. I don't know why.
Oh, that's probably why. The Jew family went for the turkey and not the ham.
Hi.
They drew that.
You're going to trigger a lot of people.
It's still early in this episode. But what's new Pittston Rest?
The restaurant. I didn't realize that was part of your opening thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can see how well we plan things here.
I thought of it last minute. I'm like, shit, let me add that in here.
Oh, restaurant.
Yeah. You started saying something to me as I was typing it, and I stopped because I didn't know.
I'm looking at rest. I'm like, so they're opening a new rest stop? Or are we having like a snuggle party? Like, what's the dealio here?
I would love to go to like a store and just take a rest. You just pay them to let you sleep. They watch your kids while you take a nap.
Yeah, it's called Take the Kids to Daycare.
No, that's too expensive.
So you want someone to pay less to watch the kids so you can sleep.
Do you realize daycares now are fixed rates to where they charge you before and after
As
They
someone who had this conversation many times with you, yes, I get it.
it doesn't matter.
I know it
If your
doesn't
kid's
matter.
there for fucking 3 days a week, they're gonna charge you for a whole ass week.
Mm.
I wanna go somewhere where I can charge them in for the hour just to lay down and take a nap in a nice, peaceful, comfortable tranquility of solitude and peacefulness, and instead of paying them $3,000 for a month of service. It's insane.
So before we get to our main things here, anything else happen this week? I can't remember.
Hmm. The bridge collapse.
Ah, Billy, Baltimore sucks even more now.
People died, dickhead.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
I made jokes about 9/11. I literally just made jokes about Easter, and
That happened how many years ago? This just happened. There's still bodies out of the
are they really?
I think they're still
Yeah.
recovering.
Wow, that joke went down.
Might do that one.
Uh, you're in a state of shock over there.
Do you have no shame?
Nope.
We knew that.
First of all, you know how terrified I am of driving over any body of water. Bridges alone, they scare the shit out of
I
me.
know.
Reasons like this,
That's why you don't do bath time. Brow, brow. Uh. Don't go chasing waterfalls. You might go into a bridge and fall
shut
down.
the fuck
Well,
up.
you're sitting here staring at me silently.
Because
Speak. We're on a podcast here, not a video
I'm
conference.
trying to figure out where you got the audacity.
Well, we will soon be talking about childhood trauma.
And then Jerry Sandusky. I'm tying things together.
Yeah, it's. I get alcohol for this one for me, more than usual.
I would ask you who hurt you, but I already know the answer.
We're gonna get there, don't worry. So, on that note, what?
Our condolences do go to the anybody.
Oh yeah, it is pretty tragic. I shouldn't have made jokes, but yeah, that was insane. And sincere on that note, if you're out there making fucking conspiracy theories that all this other bullshit, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
people who actually lost their lives. It's just like mourn in peace and
Like there's no way the ship could do that because even if we lose powers, there's a backup. Yeah, there's a fucking rudder and it's thousands and thousands of tons.
they also said the Titanic wasn't
Physics.
sinkable, so
No, there's literally people saying that if a ship loses power, it can still steer itself. No shit. However, there's called fucking physics, where a giant fucking machine. Okay, hey, if you lose power in your car and still fucking going down the road, guess what? It's not gonna come down or be able to turn exactly where you want it. You're still gonna fucking hit something. Ooh,
Apparently
this is
apparently the ship was having problems like 2 days prior too.
oh, I also saw like a year ago it failed like some inspection with gauges or something, but after that it passed a Coast Guard inspection. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But people are also like, this is Russia. It's like, why? Oh, because there's like a cargo container that dealt with Russia and they stopped when they invaded Ukraine. Fun fact, Russia was one of the major economies in the world. They had ties to a lot of global commerce. Who would have fucking thought? Ugh, I'm sorry. This is a prelude to what this year is going to become as we enter the political season.
can't wait.
I'm gonna put a bullet in my brain.
I already had just like a dumbfounded moment because we already started to get political stuff like in the mail.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was like February, and like the Republican Party of whatever in this county was like, our governor hasn't done shit this year. And I'm like, wait a minute, the holidays were just over, 2024. Like they literally said 2024 on it. Like no one was working for the government out like in the fucking house of whatever for Pennsylvania. No one was doing anything. And they're like, oh my god, this is terrible. Go and work yourself, you fucking kook.
I like how they're trying to get me to register to vote, which mind you, I already am registered to vote.
Really doing their homework.
Yep.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy. Listen, it's all about Kennedy, okay? He doesn't have
Mar-
dementia. Not out there grabbing fucking people by the vagina, okay?
He also suffers from childhood trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's get
Everyone's like,
off of
oh,
our trauma, our current trauma.
Hop on something.
all I'm saying is everyone's like, oh my god, it's conspiracy nut. If your fucking uncle and dad were both taken up by the government, allegedly, you might not trust the government too fucking much, all right?
I mean, he has the balls to run for any type of political stance, especially knowing that what
Listen,
his fate is already gonna be.
as long as he does not have information that can lead to Hillary Clinton's arrest, he should be okay.
He needs to wear a bulletproof helmet
Yeah.
or not get on any planes.
Take the Pokemobile and just sit in there. That thing's bulletproof. Did you know
Never make it fly corporate.
the first armored presidential car was actually oh, I can't think of the monster's name now. He did the Valentine's Day massacre.
Al Capone.
Al Capone, yeah. Al Capone's armored car was seized during some raid, and it was used as the first presidential armored vehicle
Oh,
Yeah.
for FDR.
cool.
Yep, just a little tidbit of history. But anyway, is that everything for this week?
I think so.
Okay. There is a trigger warning we're placing for this episode. We do try our best to make light of certain situations, laugh, and hide our own pain. But today we are really getting into it. Rose just talked about childhood trauma. I have not read about it, but when I was saying I'm putting one of these for mine, she's like, "You should probably do that for me as well." So who could only guess what's going to happen there? But I know for me, I will be talking about Jason Sandusky in the trial and some victims. So this could be troubling for anyone who went through sexual harassment, assault as a child. I do include quotes from testimonies from victims and go into some graphic details. So listen at your own choosing. If it gets too much for you, by all means, walk away. If you come back, great. If not, great. Take care of yourself first.
You can listen to mine.
So on that, yeah, Billy is okay. Billy's in the middle of the trauma. So
He's the cream in an Oreo.
he's the cream of the trauma Oreo.
I mean, 20 people get hit, but nonetheless,
We just want to put that out there because usually we talk about some of these things. We're like halfway through, like, oh, we should probably put a warning here.
Yeah.
We're learning. So let's dive into it with this childhood trauma as I go turn off the heat.
Ba, ba, ba. I had a write up that I wanted to do, and I completely deleted it and went a whole different route. I was in my feelings, and I felt like I haven't done anything for mental health lately, and I wanted
You had
to,
some what? That's mental health.
well, as far as, you know, traumatizing stuff. So I'm going to dive into childhood trauma. A lot of people are like, okay, well, you're going to talk about yourself. No. However, I am going to talk about things that may cause people to think of things that they've been through. So, would you like some wine, my love?
There might be a point where I just go grab one of my scotches and just start drinking.
Okay, so now I'm going to kick it off now. Childhood trauma can have a number of different signs in adults. For some people, it manifests as mental health disorders such as anxiety or depression. Others may have trouble with relationships or struggle with addiction. And some people who have experienced traumatic events will have flashbacks and or nightmares. If you've experienced trauma as a child, it's more than likely that you have experienced some amount of post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD for those who don't know, and later on in life.
Can I just add a note in here?
Hmm.
Something I just heard someone once say, and it's very important about PTSD. So there was this guy that my mom used to date like years ago. Okay. And we're on the kitchen talking, and he claimed that, like, okay, so we've been very open that there's some shit down that house. But he said it was impossible for anyone not in the military to have PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
which is the dumbest fucking thing to ever say. Because it's post traumatic, not post military stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you're having some of these fucking symptoms, go get help. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I didn't go through a certain thing, so I don't deserve to be like this. Go get fucking help.
There's so many different forms of PTSD for a lot of people. Some people could have completely vanilla childhood experiences, and they can get in a car accident, and that can completely destroy their ability to get behind a car for a long time. It doesn't have to be something that fucks you up in childhood. It could just be anything that could cause you to have a complete mental break. Like for me, antibiotics do that for me because I've been through a traumatic experience with anaphylactic shock. It's PTSD in all types of forms. So it doesn't have to pertain to being beaten
No, there's
or going into the military.
countless ways to tactically acquire PTSD.
Yes. So if you feel you have it, please get checked out. What is childhood trauma?
She beats me.
She makes me. Trauma in childhood is not only physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, but it's exposure to traumatic events as well. These traumatic events could be when children witness natural disasters or even when they witness violence within their community. What determines a child's reaction to a traumatic event? The first one is developmental level. This can mean where a child is age-wise or mentally where they're at in their development stages. Something could happen to when you're a child and it can affect you in the long run. Sometimes some people don't even have to worry about that at all. Ethnicity or cultural factors. This can impact a child's views or as a normal response to trauma based on what they have seen or heard.
I actually did see a report. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday, where they're seeing like an increasingly rising rate of suicides in Black youth. You said ethnicity there.
Mhm.
It was just interesting because they're claiming, well, of course, racial factors, facing prejudices, but as you can see, everyone feels that the fucking economics of the country now, everyone's wallets are getting a little tighter. Unfortunately, their communities are a little more poor than the rest of us.
Yeah,
So there's just an increase in suicides among that fuck, what's the word? Demographic.
there you
I know big words.
go. Another is previous exposure to trauma. If a child is more accustomed to traumatic events, it means that they have adapted by learning to control their reactions, which is it's pretty sad because those kids that see things most children don't experience or are not exposed to, and they see it as a common thing in their lifestyle and they become accustomed to things happening.
So I disagree with something here. You said control their reactions. That's like not close to PTSD.
Well, you have adapted. Like if say you have parents fighting all the time and first it was scary and then you're so used to them in the background fighting, you've learned to not freak out as much because now it's consumed you in a way to where it's normal. It normalizes it.
Yeah, but that whole thing could be normalized for you, but later you can be in your own relationship and freak out about something that's not
Oh,
controlling your reaction.
absolutely.
That's what I mean. Like this isn't you're not controlling your actions. You just become assimilated with a certain thing, but later you're not controlling your actions later. I
Well, this is
mean,
about in a child's perspective, not an adult's. Like how a child becomes accustomed to something. Now, when you get older, you might have a different experience.
what?
It's okay.
I,
I wasn't sure. I went back and I'm like a child's reaction to traumatic events. Like when you were younger, if something happened, you got so used to it happening to where you may thought it was wrong, but now that you're older, you're like, wow, that was real fucked up. I should have never gone through that. But when you were younger, you didn't think anything of it because it became normal to you. It's not so much
yeah.
control may not be the right word, but it's more of regulating instead of
I'm gonna stay
controlling.
quiet on this one.
Do you disagree?
Absolutely not. But I know how I am, and I know why I am the way I am.
See, this episode is going to be great since we've from talking about that. Because one of the main points of my therapy is to be able to talk about traumatic things and not feel reactive.
Well, I want to be. I mean, all three of us have all been through something in one way, shape, or form. Have been completely traumatic to us in a sense that sculpted us into the problematic adults that we are.
That's a way to put it.
I mean, we're normal functioning human beings, but we're normal in a
I wouldn't say
sense.
normal. I functioning, yes. Barely, yes.
Yes.
Yes, not normal, but in a way, we present ourselves to be normal human beings. I mean, we know each other, so we know we're not normal.
There we go.
We're a little swirly.
Swirly, squirrely.
Pineapple.
I'm a
Another is
33-year-old emo
pre-existing.
kid, man.
It's not a phase, mom. A pre-existing child and family problems. Speaking of triggered, this could dictate how supportive your parents are when you tell them that if something traumatic happened, or it could mean when some form of abusive trauma is occurring in your immediate family. This one got me real good
I feel good.
because you could be that kid going to your parents and saying, "Hey, this happened," and they look at you and like, "Why are you making up stories?"
Yeah, there's a few like that.
Or they're taking that abusive trauma that you said and it happened within a family. This one hit this one or this one touched somebody, and they look at you like, "Wow, why your imagination is so wild." And as a child, you're looking at an adult saying, "You're so supposed to be protecting me here. I'm the kid, you're the adult."
You know, grab some whiskey. Continue.
And it's just one of those things to where I think all of us have been through something in some kind of sense or form to where there is some kind of pre-existing trauma. Now, every time something would happens with Cole and he tells me something happens, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to hear him out and I'm going to let him feel validated because that's something that I feel like we didn't get enough of as children growing up.
Not
Am I
even
mistaken?
remotely.
Or am I just it's hard to be I hate using the word victim because I'm not it's hard being somebody who's been through the things that I've been through and then being the parent to make sure it doesn't follow suit. And I never want, you never as an adult who's been through things, you don't want your children ever going through a certain thing. So anytime like Cole had an instant in school, we sat there, we listened to him, we asked him questions. Never once did we say, "Well, did you do this or did you do that?" It was more so letting him explain himself and let him feel validated regardless of whether he felt wronged or not. Sometimes that's
Well,
all it
why'd you piss
takes.
him off?
Are you okay? Yeah. What'd you do to make the bully do that?
Today's episode of Me Repress My Feelings is brought to you by Scotch.
All right, on to my next part. Signs of PTSD in children.
I can't wait to feel attacked.
After exposure to any traumatic event, kids tend to express some form of behavioral changes. Sudden new fears. These fears may or may not be related to the traumatic event, but this all of a sudden you have new anxiety. Separation anxiety. It occurs when a child becomes overwhelmed with anxiety if their parents are not around. Sleep disturbances. This could mean that they start having nightmares or lose the ability to fall asleep quickly or stay asleep. Increase of sadness. If you notice that you or a loved one is feeling down more often and you notice that they just are just meh all the time. Losing interest in normal activities. A child may lose interest in things that they may once enjoy. If you know, like certain things, like you see a kid playing and all of a sudden they're not playing basketball no more. They're not going outside playing with their friends anymore, or, anything that you may see. I mean, did you ever have something that you used to love doing and all of a sudden you just felt like you didn't want to do it anymore?
Quite often.
Mhm.
The inability to concentrate. This is where ADHD was born. This this could be a long or short-term impact in things like school, work, or normal activities. This one got me. Anger. Unexplained anger or irritability that doesn't match up to the level of the event. It can be a sign of traumatic events. Now, if you didn't have an anger issue before, or you automatically end up getting anger, like an easily aggravated or something so tiny can throw you
I'm just a rat trapped in a cage.
despite
All
all
the
the
rain.
rage.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that. It's important to note that many of these symptoms go away over time. However, the risk of PTSD does increase if a child is repeatedly exposed to trauma or has a history of anxiety issues. While kids may heal, between 3% and 15% of girls and 1% to 6% of boys will develop PTSD if not treated at a young age.
I have a pretty strong theory of why there's such a big difference there.
Why is that?
Well, girls tend to be molested more often.
Actually, no.
No?
There's
All
a
right,
higher
Sandusky.
rate.
We'll get there later, okay? Settle down there, Mr. Molly Maguire.
Back in the 80s and the 90s, yes, but more so kids of suffering from sexual abuse, it's a higher number of boys.
Huh.
Look at all the teachers who took advantage of all the boy students.
Yeah, well,
They didn't have that. I didn't have hot teachers growing up. That wasn't one of those things that happened to me.
we had some hot teachers.
But
And I went to
that's what I'm
school with
saying.
someone who did that.
Never forget when the Catholic school had some teacher knocked up 2 girls.
Oh boy.
Oh, that was crazy.
Children suffering from PTSD may also re-experience the trauma or avoid things that may remind them or cause them to remember certain traumas. Now, I mean, things just don't go away, but over time, therapy and healing, you may be able to lessen
And
the
possibly mushrooms.
and possibly mushrooms. Signs of childhood trauma in adults. Here's where I attack you. The effects of childhood trauma can they can last well into adulthood. Trauma can impact future relationships and lead to other issues like depression and low self-esteem.
I am full of self-esteem.
You are the epitome of self-esteem, babe.
Thank you. None of these things are going to relate to.
None of them are going to relate
Nope.
to you. Wow, I can't believe you just read ahead.
I didn't. I just know.
Secure. People with secure self attached styles have healthy relationships with good levels of self-esteem.
See, I have a secure attachment style. I just constant physical contact.
Yes, constant physical contact. Oh wait, what is that?
That's one of the words you came up with.
Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna put the abbreviation next to it.
Ambivalent.
Ambivalent, yes, ambivalent. These are the attachment styles that are reluctant to get close to one another, and people find ways, always worry about that their partners are going to leave them. I wanted to change that to, "Hi, it's me." Um,
I definitely
those
don't have dreams constantly like this.
No, people who are attached to one another because they have abandonment issues due to a parent walking out on them or being abandoned by one or both parents, that they always end up finding partners that they attach themselves to, and it causes a strain on the relationship due to the post-traumatic, stress of childhood trauma, that they always fear that their partners are gonna leave them. Like when I say, "Do you still love me?" And you go, "Yes."
Yep. I
Why
don't
do
know.
you
Pissed me
hate
off yet today?
why do you hate me?
She has the same question 50 times in a week.
It's me.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm
I'm
traumatized.
Avoidant attachment styles have problems with intimacy and never let anybody get close for the fear of abandonment.
Doesn't like anyone I know.
No, we're definitely
Hmm.
definitely not there.
Really?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm like this.
Disorganized. These attachment styles sometimes take on parental roles in romantic relationships. Wow. Shut the fuck up. He just whipped his whole ass head at
Listeners,
me.
you could hear that I said nothing, and she just assumed I was making
I'm
comments.
pretty sure they heard your
Wow.
neck snap.
It's very
I
different.
did hear a snap.
Did you really?
See?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you had parental role models, you wouldn't act like a child and look at me as your
Hey,
mother.
I can't help that. I have torque in this neck, okay?
Other
That
signs
would
of
turn into a
childhood
chiropractor.
exposure to traumatic events can also can also cause poor self-esteem, depression, self-destructive behavior, and even difficulties trusting others. This can easily, especially become a problematic with age, PTSD, traumatic events from childhood. It can actually result to adverse health effects in adulthood. Here's where we get attacked.
That already fucking
Here's where we get more attacked.
Oh
no,
boy.
none of it's gonna really.
Adults who experience trauma as a kid are much more susceptible to depression and mood disorders, as well as thoughts of suicide. They are also likely to abuse alcohol and other substances. By golly, Miss Molly. Finally, they are more prone to developing chronic illnesses such as diabetes, heart disease later on in life.
I just want to be the first to say I don't abuse alcohol. Alcohol, okay,
It does. I'll drink to that.
yeah.
I got nothing.
The higher likelihood of developing chronic illnesses is potentially due to the fact that adults who experience trauma as children are more likely to engage in high risk activities such as smoking. Yeah,
We
who
got a
wants to smoke
badass over
cigarettes?
here.
Why are you looking at me?
I vape.
Through the computer screen, he feels all of our eyes on him.
The new vape scent, trauma.
Am I smoking
It
a
smells like
cigarette right
trauma.
now?
Tastes like childhood. You are never too old to seek help for something that happened to you when you were a child. Know that you could always start working on yourself and seek help from a therapist or some kind of hotline.
Or get a cat.
Cats are known for anxiety and depression.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's when my
Know that
baby
your thoughts.
slept.
Aw, trauma cat.
You got it.
Fireball, you traumatized? You have depression? Hey, I'll fuck you up, cat.
Yeah, now it
Want me?
does.
Know that your thoughts and feelings about things that happened to you years ago are just as valid now as they were then. And it's okay if it is taking you a while to get to the point to where you are ready to work on it. No matter when you've experienced abuse in your life, it's never too late to seek help from a professional. If you are a victim of child abuse or know somebody who might be, call or text child help to the National Child Abuse Hotline, which is 1-800-422-4453, to speak to a professional crisis counselor.
And
You
don't
can
do it to
also
be
get
a
help.
dick either.
No, only serious inquiries only. Also, anybody who doesn't feel like they need to they want to make a phone call or they want to seek therapy, but they don't have the means or transportation or the guts to go somewhere and do it. There are a lot of online resources now. The best online therapy programs out there include Talkspace, BetterHelp, and Regain. If talking to a person isn't for you, you can always find out what option is best for you.
There's also a texting one that you can use. I have to remember. Hold on. You text. Let's see here. I gotta look it up. I just want to get the right info. I think I remember what it is. Hold on a second to look it up. Texting crisis line. Let's see here. You text home capital or all caps HOME to 741-741. It is free. They're 24/7. I've used it before in my life. It is great. It is nice. It's just because there's some people that don't even want to talk. They're just anxiety or whatever. Texting is easier.
A
Go
lot of
at it.
people feel like if they're talking and they can't talk because their emotions will get the best of them, or they feel like someone's going to judge them. They don't want to listen to people in their judgmental tones. Sometimes texting somebody is easier, emailing or doing online back and forth therapy sessions is better for some people. Technology is amazing these days. You don't have to go to a crisis center or go to a therapist to get help. Everybody, regardless of how little or how small you feel something, if it ever happened to you, there's always means for help.
I also hear a lot about BetterHelp being amazing because they have specialists in all these different fields, different traumas. They even have like faith-based people. You know, if you're a certain religion, you're looking more towards that as a basis. And you think of, they can help.
Talkspace too
That
is
is it.
supposedly very good.
Yeah, that's why I looked up the best online, therapy programs, and that's why I put it on here because and Regain is more so, one of those therapy sessions and, what are those people? The inspirational people, the
Motivational coach,
like a motivational coach or
like The Rock.
like life help coaches and stuff to be it's not even just about getting, professional help for trauma. It's about bettering your life if you feel like you have nowhere to go. No, you don't feel like you're worth anything. It kind of helps do quizzes to find something that you can relate to that you find interesting to where it gives you a better course in how to make better decisions for yourself and move on from something. But that is it. Have I traumatized you?
Oh, just wait.
Have I
I got some
tickled some
stuff cooking.
nerves?
I'm not attacked at all. I feel great.
No?
Nope.
Is that why you got your scotch?
That's I was in the mood for scotch. Is do our
Self-esteem,
12-year
baby.
I haven't yeah. I don't lack self-esteem. I just lack self-esteem when I'm sober.
You are the epitome of self-esteem when you are drunk, Kodak.
Exactly. I have 4 modes when I'm drunk. Hype, I'm not gonna be sick, sick, tonight.
And there's that moment between sick or after sick and before good night to where you think you're a fucking rock star and you're like the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's why I love Easter. That's why I get drunk. I gotta get drunk now. By the way, have you ever noticed that, like, they called the Friday before Easter the Friday where Jesus was crucified, Good Friday?
Yeah.
Like, do you think, like, he thinks about that? Like, they're like, "Wow,
Those
I died, and it was a good."
those sons of bitches.
Yeah,
It's
just
never on the same day either. It changes every year.
yeah,
So they don't even
it just crossed my mind, you know?
yeah.
It goes
Whether
with
you
the
wanted to
moon
call it
or
a bad
something.
Friday? It
Oh,
crossed your
yeah.
mind?
Yeah. You I caught up to you.
I looked
Nailed it.
I looked at it. You
Oh,
said it, and then it came back around like a goddamn boomerang, and he's making a funny asshole.
came back like Christ.
Yeah,
Oh, we are
and that
so
one took
getting
me 3
canceled.
seconds.
No, we're not getting canceled. We're respectful here.
I don't know who'd be more pissed, the Christians, the Roman Jews.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about the Romans, that much. Now watch tomorrow, we're gonna see a fucking legionnaire with a ballista come into our house.
Yes, he praises our work, yes.
And I do believe, speaking of ethnics, we have some more Irish people to learn about.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of followed Shanna's lead on this one. Well, not on this one, but I kept it Irish.
Yay!
When we last left our coal region heroes, following several years of blatant mistreatment to the miners, the Mollies were once again up to their terroristic antics again in 1875. I fucked ears up in the last one. I fixed it in this one, so that's why I apologized before.
Very
Uh, I
nice.
always, I always forget when I quote something on here. When I said terroristic, there were heavy air quotes, but listeners can't see that. After learning about the Tommyknockers from Shanna and the Well House Exorcism this week, I'm a little shocked a lot of people didn't blame these little guys for all the happenings at the coal mines, but who knows? Maybe they did. To combat the closing of the mines and further incident, Franklin Gowan, the president of the Philadelphia and Reading Coal and Iron Company, had called in the big guns of the Pinkerton Detective Agency, who we now all know are pretty big dicks.
Boo, boo Pinkertons, boo, boo.
Alan Pinkerton had a whole bunch of different kind of spies under his employment, so when Franklin Gowan needed an Irishman, god damn it, he got himself an Irishman. James McParland was an immigrant from Ireland himself, arriving to New York in 1867. Being in more progressive parts of the country, McParland had worked as a policeman, a general laborer, and at one time owned a liquor store in Chicago until it was destroyed by the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. After his liquor store went up in
Boo.
flames, he became a detective with the Pinkerton Detective Agency because I guess he could just do that then.
Yeah, there wasn't really laws back then. It was pretty crazy.
Just, I think I want to be a spy now. In 1873, Pinkerton sent McParland to the coal fields of Sweet Home, School County. He would quickly find a job in one of the mines and would find a place for room and board under the name James McKenna. His work was quickly cut short in 1874 when Gowan announced a 20% pay cut to the workers. The workers responded quickly with a strike beginning in January 1st, 1875. That was the strike I was talking about in the last one, but I said 77, I think.
Hey, correct yourself now. Better late than never.
Yeah, well, last week was fresh because lazy and work.
You work.
Several mine bosses and the like were attacked during this time, but again, without any money, the miners began to starve and needed to return to work. There wasn't any kind of agreements made, and the workers would just take the 20% pay cut on the chin. Not all miners would take so kindly and still refuse to work. Those men were from the ancient order of Hibernians, but they soon did return. Well, they had no other choice given the circumstances. The Ancient Order of Hibernians, or the AOH, were a fraternal organization of Irish Catholic men with a big "No Girls Allowed" sign on their clubhouse. This was also taken from groups like the Ribbon Men back in Ireland as a way to protect the Catholic churches in the area. Remember, Prots hate Cathys, and so did basically everyone else in the coal mining region. This was a totally legal organization, but was believed to be a front hiding the Mollies basically in plain sight. Jack Kehoe was the leader of the AOH, with headquarters based out of Gerardville. This seems as good a time as any to tell you that the Hibernian House is still standing and an active bar. As much as it was believed to be a front for the Molly Maguires, it totally was a front for the Molly Maguires, which Jack was also the president of.
I love the 19th century.
Oh, I got so drunk at the Hibernian House one year. After returning to the mines, McParland had made very little progress at infiltrating the secret organization or even the legal one. He had made himself seem like he was another angry Irishman and was soon accepted in the AOH and eventually the Mollies themselves. After McParland tipped off his bosses of possible Molly Maguires, on December 10th, 1875, a group of men entered the home of Charles O'Donnell and Ellen McAllister in Wiggins Patch. Wiggins Patch is still very much a town, and it still very much looks like it did then, except probably more blight now. Sorry, Wiggins homies. I think I know like one dude who lives there.
Wiggins Pat.
Oh, it still looks like a coal town.
They're all coal towns.
Well, yeah, it still looks like one though. I mean, Monomoy City, they at least put fucking siding on.
Fair enough.
Charles was found. Charles was found murdered inside the home, while a very pregnant Ellen was found outside, also shot. Two other suspected Mollies, Charles's sons, James and other Charles, were wounded but got away. McParland was actually really pissed off about this, believing his report led to the death of a woman and child, though he still did believe that Charles and the others should have been offed. Pick a fucking side, dude.
Fucking hypocrites.
Though several assassinations and attempts had been completed on both sides of the playing field here, it was seemingly dying down a little bit. The Mollies planned for attacks, but something would always go wrong. They had planned to blow up a railroad bridge in Monet City, but decided against it as there were too many outsiders nearby. See, at least they didn't want to kill innocent people. Who were the real heroes here? Yeah, that bridge thing was
God
hurting.
damn.
They did derail a train, though.
Well, I had it coming.
After McParland had gained the access to the Mollies, he had begun to feel some sort of sympathetic towards their plight, as he was fake living in it too. This didn't stop McParland from passing on information that was used for over 60 arrests throughout the coal mine. The first arrest was for the murder of John P. Jones, a mine superintendent. Jimmy Kerrigan, a more notable Molly Maguire, decided to become a witness for the state and testified against other members. Kerrigan's wife, however, obviously didn't appreciate the turncoat nature and testified against Kerrigan, claiming that he was the one that had murdered the policeman. This raises a lot of questions, and people believe Kerrigan was getting special treatment because, surprise, McParland was engaged to Kerrigan's sister-in-law. Because of Kerrigan's testimony, along with McParland's eyewitness accounts, that very well could have been embellished, all of the Mollies were convicted and sentenced to death. On June 21st, 1877, 20 men walked to the gallows in Schuylkill County and Carbon County jails. This day was known as the Day of the Rope, which was technically a turn of phrase from the lovely KKK, just, telling me how great we were. One interesting story from the day of the rope. While being taken from his cell, convicted Molly Maguire Alexander Campbell rubbed dirt from the cell floor on his hand and swore his innocence by placing his dirty hand on the cell wall. As story goes, the prison had tried painting over it, knocking down the wall, and other forms of getting rid of the handprint. The handprint still remains today, and you can see it by taking a tour of the Carbon County Jail in Jim Thorpe. It's one of my favorite places to go, and where I eventually plan to renew my wedding vows. So there's fun. There's a fun fact. Schuylkill County Prison also still stands, but the only way to get a tour of that place is by getting actually arrested, as it's still an active prison. I've been there for reasons that don't need to be mentioned. It's a lot less creepy than Carbon County, probably due to the other prisoners, less ghosts, way more reasons to be scared. That will do it for my very loose retelling of the Molly Maguires. There's a lot more information to be had, but I only have a certain amount of time on subjects. I implore anyone who finds this interesting to go check out the old jail in Jim Thorpe, along with the Molly Maguires Monument in Monterey City, and of course, Unionize.
Woo!
Woo!
Now who's ready for things to get worse?
Yeah, I just had hangings.
So, as I said before, we'll be going into the case against Jerry Sandusky, who, besides one fucking Facebook commenter, everyone says is a pedophile, including the goddamn courthouse.
Really? I don't have Facebook anymore, so I don't see this shit.
Oh, you didn't see it? Yeah, there's someone who's very pro Sandusky is innocent.
Oh, yeah, no, I deleted Facebook from my phone.
That
So,
explains a lot.
so if you listened last week, I dove into Sandusky's personal life, his early life, and his coaching career. So the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office opened an investigation into sexual abuse allegations against Sandusky in 2008, which initiated from an allegation from a student at Central Mountain High School at Mill Hall, PA. The investigators quickly made this case a priority when they learned this was not a singular incident, but part of Sandusky's strategy to abuse boys that were at risk. At risk being like, maybe they might have PTSD one day already. Who knows?
Oh, look
Yeah,
at the
tie-in.
tie-in.
Maybe their great granddaddy was a Molly Maguire, and now they still suffer. Who knows? What Sandusky would do was that he would first approach kids in his second mile program, which, as last week we talked about, was for at-risk kids, where he said quote, touched 100,000 kids a year.
Oof.
Yeah. He would typically target those without a father at home and somewhere between the ages of 8 to 12. Now, last week I made a bunch of jokes, but noted that research that these crimes actually took a chord with me. This was the first thing that did because, um, looking at some of these things, I was one of these kids that went through some of these. So, there it is. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was just that kid that lives in the broken home and went through things, and people didn't believe me, and yada 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 yada.
Y'all
Grooming.
pay high school calls
Sandusky
for
would
all.
go through typical grooming strategies as a predator with power, influence, and wealth. He offered trips to football games, offered gifts to the kids to lead them into a false sense of security, and then begin to touch them inappropriately. If you read about child predators or even other monsters like domestic violence perpetrators, this is common. I mean, we even covered a few people like this. They build up trust to lower your guard, and then they pounce like a ninny lion. Sandusky would often force his victims into the showers with him. One victim testified that when he was 8 to 10, he was forced to play with Sandusky's testicles and his erect penis, all before really, at an age you don't understand what sex or intercourse or anything like that are. And as we just said before, trauma at an early age can really impact your mental health and your perception of people when you go through that at a young age. On November 4th, 2011, following a 3-year investigation, a grand jury indicted Sandusky on 40 counts of sex crimes against young boys. They identified 8 separate boys who were sexually assaulted or singled out for sexual advances by Sandusky. They allege these incidents took place from 1994 to 2009. 20 of these allegations occurred when Sandusky was still an employee of Penn State. Mm. According to the first indictment, while serving as a graduate assistant in 2002, Mike McCreary walked in on Sandusky anally raping a 10-year-old boy. Now, McQuarrie, he had lots of ties to Penn State. He himself was a quarterback for the Nittany Lions in the 90s and coached with the team until 2011. Like I said, how Sandusky got his start, it's very common for a college player to go into the coaching program to start off as graduate assistants. The next day, Mike reported the incident to head coach Joe Paterno. Upon hearing what happened, Paterno reportedly responded by saying that it's his job now on how to go about this and apologized to Mike for what he saw. He stated that he now needed to report this to the right people, which he did when he notified athletic director Tim Curley. During the preliminary hearing, Mike said he never saw penetration and cannot be 100% sure intercourse is occurring, but due to the position of Sandusky over the boy, he believed a rape was actually taking place.
At that point, like, isn't that enough?
It gets worse.
Of course it is.
But
It
but
your question your question will be answered during this, Billy.
I
Because
mean,
you would think this would be enough. Because I'm about to get into it a little bit right here, actually. But you think
I
this would be
don't
enough? Like, oh,
I don't care if there was insertion or whatever. And if he was over the boy, that's enough.
yeah, that no, that you're correct. That is enough. That is sexual abuse. That is assault. All of that.
No questions asked.
But it was
Guilty.
well, it was mostly he was asked like, "Hey, did you see this?" Like they had to ask these questions in court. That's all.
But
No, you're right. Hey, spoiler alert: he is in jail.
oh, well.
So, athletic director Curley and senior VP for finance and business Gary Schultz, who also oversaw the Penn State Police Department, called Mike in for a meeting a week and a half later because apparently it takes that fucking long to talk about a fucking child rape. Mike testified that he went into great detail over what he saw in the locker room. This included the sexual positions that he saw performed and that he believed intercourse was going on.
Um,
See, this is where I realized my memory of events was a little fuzzy because I thought for the longest time that Paterno didn't do a single damn thing. Turns out Curley and Schultz not only refrained from notifying police, but also told the grand jury that McCreary never informed them of the crime, never had him beaten whatsoever.
oh,
And that's not to say Paterno was actually innocent either. I get to this later. He definitely could have done more. He was part of covering up, but in this instance, yeah, Curley and Schultz they could have stopped this.
ay.
On November 5th, 2011, Sandusky was arrested and charged with 7 counts of involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, 8 counts of corruption of minors, 8 counts of endangering the welfare of a child, 7 counts of indecent assault, along with several other charges. Curley and Schultz were also charged with perjury and failure to report suspected child abuse. The following day, Penn State immediately banned Sandusky from campus as his bail conditions don't include restrictions from travel. Due to this, and this is fucking out, this says everything you need to know about the court system because the court did not put conditions on his travel. Legally speaking, Penn State could not keep him away from the school campus.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, like they could try to remove him, but there's no legal way to keep him out. Like they'd have to go a whole different process. Sandusky claimed his innocence, but admitted that he showered with the boys. But like, no normal person just showers with 10-year-old kids.
I mean, even like high school coaches don't like jump in the shower with you.
No, they go fucking sit in their office. They not announce, hey, is it okay to come in here? There's that fucking common sense.
Yeah, no, fuck this dude.
Ugh. December 2011, Sandusky was charged with an additional 12 counts of sexual crimes against children, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, and 2 more counts of unlawful contact with a minor. 2 more victims, simply known as Victim 9 and Victim 10, and they're all just victim number, just to protect their identities.
Well, yeah.
Because they were when this happened. Yeah, exactly. They were participants in Sandusky's youth programs and were between 10 and 12 at the time of the sexual assaults. On December 7th, 2011, Sandusky was arrested for a second time due to these new charges, but he was released on a $250,000 bond, but this time he was confined to house arrest to await trial.
Bigger surprise than Pearl Harbor, buddy.
Turns out the fucking judge this time has some goddamn common sense. Now, on November 14th, Sandusky admitted in a phone interview on Rock Center with Brian Williams that he did shower with young boys and touch their bodies, but denied being a pedophile because there was no sexual intent. In fucking other news, if I drink this liquor right now because the PTSD we just talked about, I'm not an alcoholic. It just wasn't my intent. It just happened.
Whoopsie.
That's fuck.
Yeah. Like, how do you tell your, like, how do you,
Oh, how did this get here?
like, how do you go out saying, yeah, I was naked with this kid and touched him, but it wasn't sexual? I swear. Like,
You know,
I literally stopped myself writing so many times through this because I got so fucking pissed off.
this is giving me damn Schneider vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Dan Schneider vibes from
Nickelodeon,
Nickelodeon.
which we did start that, but we just have to finish it.
Oh, it's a wild ride.
Oh yeah. When asked by Costas, who conducted the interview, if he was sexually attracted to young boys, Sandusky responded with actual fucking quote here: "Sexually attracted, you know. I enjoy young people. I love to be around them, but no, I'm not sexually attracted to young people."
If you're trying to get away with it, the answer is no.
Yeah, just a fucking easy answer. No, I am not. Have like even if you're lying, have the fucking thought to lie about it. Because we you just said you like to touch boys when they're naked, but not sexually. Like,
You,
uh,
you claim innocence.
I like
Just
to
say no.
following the interview, several more alleged victims contacted lawyer Andy Shubin to share their version of events of themselves being abused. One even claimed to be a victim from the 70s. There's more on that one later, I believe. Sandusky attempted to provide clarity on his interview in a taped interview with Joe Becker of the New York Times in December. He claimed that he meant he just likes spending time with young boys because they don't think about what they say and he enjoys their company. He also stated he felt like some of the children were coerced into making allegations against them. But how the fuck? Okay, you enjoy hanging out with the young kids because they don't think what they say.
These
That
kids
they don't
say the
fucking know.
darndest things.
All right, Cosby. Ah, so infuriating. Sandusky's trial began on June 11, 2012. He faced 52 charges at the Center County Courthouse in Belafonte, PA, which, by the way, side comment here, I love that name, Belafonte.
Yeah.
I don't know
Belfast.
why, I just do. To me, it's Belafonte. I know
Okay.
I just prefer this way, okay? Listen, it was not my intent to say it like that. It just happened, okay?
That's how it's spelled. I get it.
I see what you get.
Thank you.
I see what you did.
The lead prosecutor for the Commonwealth was State Deputy Attorney General and former homicide prosecutor Joseph E. McGettigan III. Sounds kind of Irish there.
Again.
McGettigan.
Yeah, it's got a mix.
Sandusky's defense was led by Joseph Amendola, with senior judge John Cleland presiding. The trial lasted 8 days, with 8 witnesses testifying that they were sexually abused by Sandusky. The jury was told about 2 more victims who made claims, but their identities remained anonymous. The 8 witnesses all claimed to meet Sandusky from the Second Mile program between the mid-90s to 2009, with each assault occurring in either the showers or Sandusky's basement.
Ooh.
I need some scotch here real quick. Hold on. Oh, Carol got some testimony.
Put lotion on the skin and
You know, don't make jokes right now. You remember that one time I tried warning you and you got sad?
Yeah, it's real hard to
Yep.
make light of this already.
The first witness, detailed as victim number 4, described forced oral and anal sex by Sandusky. He claimed he was abused roughly 3 times a week for 3 whole fucking years. Started when he was 13. The victim claimed that when he tried to distance himself from Sandusky, Jerry fucking offered a contract with money to continue spending time together.
Oh no.
This contract offered a whole $1,000 for every year the boy attended school, plus bonuses for seeing Sandusky, going to hockey practice, and exercising 3 times a week. Sandusky also drove the victim to buy cigarettes and pot and watched him smoke. Just so fucking insane.
The prostitution.
It's like Sandusky treated him like a fucking football free agent that he wanted to molest.
Wait till you get further
Here's
in
a
that
contra
documentary.
God damn it.
Um,
Fantastic. The victim claimed that it began as soap battles in the Penn State locker room, but soon escalated. During an away football game, victim number 4 claimed Dottie, his wife, walked in on Sandusky, sexually assaulted him, and did nothing. Victim number 4 claimed he never told Sandusky to stop because he was afraid to not have a father figure in his life, despite literally having to hide in a closet when he was at Sandusky's home, hopefully that he won't be found. Like, think how mentally fucked that it's like a surprise this victim did not kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, he would rather be raped, molested, whatnot, because he was that afraid of not having a dad. Ugh, that took me somewhere. Okay,
you okay?
I need scotch.
Y-
No, like, I literally like writing this, it fucked me so hard. Because like so much of this stuff was like part of my childhood. I don't know how it's like this stuff happened to me. On the second day of trial, the youngest victim, victim number 1, testified to over 20 counts of abuse, including forced oral sex in 2007 and 2008, all while participating in the Second Mile program, and he was 11 or 12 at the time. Mike McQuarrie, who I was talking about before, the assistant coach, he testified that he heard skin on skin slapping sound from the shower, which led him to go see what the hell was going on. When he went to see what was happening, he found Sandusky behind the boy, who was propped up against the wall with Sandusky's arms around the boy's midsection. Yeah, it's
Now nothing was done about it then.
this was I was saying before, where McCreary told Paterno like the next day that he went and told the two the I just talked about this. Can't remember now. The person in charge of all fucking athletics on the campus
Yeah.
and the security person, and they didn't really do much. I actually get into that a little later. This is more so like a timeline of events for the trial, but yeah,
They failed those kids.
they were failed horribly. It's this could have been stopped.
All this was just these poor kids.
Victim number 1 noted that during his first year in the program, which is another thing, these kids are already in a fucking program because they're at risk. They're from poor neighborhoods. They have fucking gangs and drugs going on around them, and they'd rather go into a program where they can go learn sports and be put into some structure so they can better their lives. And this fucking asshole preys on them. His first year in the program, he said there was no incidents, but during the second year, Sandusky began to get inappropriate. Like I said before, he would start with something small. For him, he would hold the victim's knee during car rides. You know how like couples will do
Gentle
whatnot.
touching.
Yeah, gentle touching. Um,
Test
Vic-
the water.
yeah, victim 1 began to spend nights at the Sandusky's home, and this was common for kids in this program to do that. Like it was just a big home, and sometimes they had nowhere else to go. When this began, Jerry would often kiss him goodnight, first in the forehead, but then he gradually began to kiss him on the cheek and rub his back while he did it.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, here's another pure example of taking advantage of a kid who doesn't fucking know any better. Victim number 1 literally thought this is just how families worked. He had no concept of family. Nothing. Yeah. So he was like, okay, this is probably what a dad does. He probably kisses their son like this to bed while rubbing their back. And I'm like, okay, if you kiss your kids on like we've all fuck was like 2, 3 years ago, we all made jokes about Tom Brady kissing his kids on the lips.
Yeah.
There's that, and there's like rubbing their back and touching their knee and things like that.
There's that, and it's actually being your kids. Like,
Yeah. Um, and while Jerry would begin to kiss him on the lips, while doing now instead of on their back, he would rub underneath their shorts and would begin to lay on top of him in a sexual manner. And as victim number 1 was saying this, he had a complete meltdown on it. Like, he had a fucking panic attack. He could not contain himself. He broke completely. And I was, like, picturing that in my head, and it was just like, you wish, like, there was, like, a way you could remove memories from people's head, like, just for something like that, just so they can I don't know. Um, After he gathered himself, he began to testify that Jerry put his mouth on his, private area, and the victim claimed to that he was just frozen in shock and was unable to do anything. He literally just froze, couldn't move, couldn't talk. Like, he was just he froze. You know, you talk about flight or fight. Just he didn't know what to do. Um, Anytime he was coerced spending the night, this would just be the routine now. Um, it didn't help that Sandusky was also an assistant wrestling coach where victim one attended school. Um, Sandusky would ask the assistant principal to pull the victim out of class so he could, quote, chat with him. But this just led to more abuse in the fucking school.
Ah,
One time while they were in the wrestling room, an unnamed school official actually caught Sandusky on top of the victim during one of these, quote, sessions. Sandusky defended this by saying he was just showing some wrestling moves.
naked.
Like, he had this shit thought they weren't naked, but he just had this shit thought like, hey, if I take him to the wrestling room, I can do something. If I get caught, I can probably get away with it.
Yeah, man, well,
When he began to visit Sandusky less, Sandusky actually arrived at the victim's own house and began to scream at him, like publicly at the door, screamed at him. Um, the victim's mom actually caught on to what was going on and tried to help. Um, she got him some counseling sessions and whatnot, and like asked him what he want to do, and he just want to go to counseling. And his counselor asked him if he would, like to report this. And this victim said when he was asked this, he broke down again completely and said he tried, but no one believed him because Sandusky had this reputation. And during the trial, when he was saying this, Sandusky's defense lawyer just claimed that the victim was just after money.
I mean, yeah, these fucking dudes go think because their reputation is so, or they're well known that, they can't be touched. Look at Vince McMahon. About the
Look at
same thing,
fucking
but
what is it? Look at it now. P Diddy facing the same fucking thing, isn't he?
Mm.
Trafficking
yeah,
with with Cuba Gooding Jr. being a part of it for some fucking reason. Like,
really?
yeah, I saw. I guess he was named in a suit for sexual assault or something.
Oh,
It was the same article. I was talking about P Diddy.
Supposedly, he's blowing a lot of whistle on a lot of celebrities that were involved in it.
Yeah, it's just they always think like, okay, I can get away with this. The fucking guy from Nickelodeon, Harvey Weinstein, the fucking billionaire who didn't kill himself, Bill fucking Clinton. I don't. You can go on. Bill Cosby. You can just go on and on and on, where they just think they're so fucking powerful and whatnot. Ted fucking Nugent did the same thing. He fucking married a 14-year-old. Like,
Vince
they just
McMahon's going through it right now.
man, yeah, where he was literally caught trying to traffic somebody who worked for him.
Yep.
Pisses me off. Fucking Doug Litweiler. I'll do a fucking episode on him one day, just the hell of it.
Oh, Jesus.
Sandusky's defense team remained consistent that the alleged victims only wanted money and relied that some continued to have a relationship with Sandusky, including one victim introducing his girlfriend to Sandusky and one attended football games with Sandusky after his arrest. Because they don't fucking realize what is it, Stockholm syndrome? It sets in. These are kids who are at risk, are taken advantage of. Their minds are fucked.
Yep.
Dr. Elliot Atkins, a psychiatrist testifying for the defense, diagnosed Jerry with histrionic personality disorder, which is characterized by attention-seeking behavior and exaggerated emotions. In her testimony, she stated that his love letters that he would write to victims was not him grooming them, but actually just a result of his disorder. So, remember that interview with Costas I talked about before? Well, on June 18th, the prosecution obtained the original unedited transcript, was fully authenticated, And in this transcript, they noted that Sandusky said, "I didn't go around seeking out every young person for sexual needs that I helped. Like, not every single one, but hey, some of them, yeah,
Just say
picked a few.
no.
Yeah,
Only you can prevent.
molestation. On July 21st, after everything, the jury went to deliberate. Matt Sandusky offered his testimony as a victim of Jerry's sexual abuse. If you recall from last week's episode, Matt was one of Jerry's six actually adopted children. Jerry's defense attorney mentioned that he was going to have Jerry testify, but did not want to because he had a feeling Matt would be called to testify as well. Um, so the seven women, 5 men jury took 21 hours over 2 days to deliberate and found Sandusky guilty on all but three charges, totaling in 45 guilty verdicts. His bail was immediately revoked and he was sent to Center County Correctional Facility to await sentencing. His guilty verdicts include 8 counts of involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, 7 counts of indecent assault, 1 count of criminal intent to commit indecent assault, 9 counts of unlawful contact with minors, 10 counts of corruption of minors, and 10 counts of endangering the welfare of children. All these charges, he faced a maximum of 442 years in prison, with, by state guidelines, a minimum of 60 years in prison, which, considering he was 68 years old, effectively a life sentence. On September 17th, it was announced that he would be sentenced on October 9th. On the evening before his sentencing, Sandusky released an audio statement maintaining his innocence. You can actually find the full record and transcript online. It's on onwarstate.com, ONWARSTATE. The recording is just under 3 minutes. I listened to it. I wouldn't recommend it. Basically, he places the blame on the first person to accuse him, saying that he just wanted attention, was a consistent liar who tried to scam someone. Much like our commenter on Facebook was saying.
Hey,
Mhm.
hey, thanks for listening.
I did tell him that I was getting into this. Here you go. Hope you're fucking happy. And Coney, when you're looking at this and be like, huh, I thought he had to be professional. I don't give a fuck when it comes to this. Whatever term he said when he messaged me today.
When are we professional anyway?
Well, he messaged me and was like, "Hey, I know you have to be a certain way, but it's like when it comes to this, I can't help it. I don't care."
No, fuck
Like
this
I
guy.
said last week's episode, I found a way like you can like contact inmates, and I thought about it, but I knew I couldn't.
Yeah.
The following day, Sandusky was sentenced to 60 years in prison with an eligibility for parole up to 30 years, which would be October 9th, 2042.
That's not really
In
here.
pronouncing the sentence, Judge Cleland said that Sandusky was a particularly dangerous breed of child molester because he masked his crimes with a respectable facade. Although he did mention that Sandusky has done positive work with his programs, however, he ended up calling him a dangerous child molester who should never be free again. Cleland approved the prosecution's request to have Sandusky declared a sexually violent predator under Pennsylvania's own versions of the Megan's Law. This is kind of more for the hell of it, as Sandusky will most likely die in prison, so there's no reason like he won't be out. His parole, he will be in his late 90s.
Bring those gallows back.
Honestly,
Mhm.
um, I'm very much like not for the death penalty because there are times wrong people were sentenced to death, but times like for things like take him out. Um, Maureen Dowd of the New York Times covered the trial compared to a lot of people. A lot of people did, obviously, and but she compared Penn State, what they did, to the Roman Catholic Church's hierarchy as the college just covered up Sandusky's crimes. In June 2012, Penn State implemented a policy to require mandatory reporting of child abuse by any Penn State employee working with children, and added requirements of background checks and training related to child abuse and reporting requirements, which is just fuck all, considering one of the reasons Sandusky got away longer than he should have was because it was reported and people ignored it.
Yeah.
Like, if they fucking followed not even just policy, but just basic morality, this would have ended sooner. So the Penn State Board of Trustees commissioned a report by a special investigative group, which was headed by former FBI Director Louis Freeh, Freeh. Interviewed over 400 people and reviewed over 3.5 million documents. Now, this report was over 120 pages long, so excuse me for not reading the whole thing. But the report did find several key people who concealed critical facts about the abuse, included Spanier, Schultz, Paterno, and Curley, in an effort to keep bad publicity away. A document that she discovered was a secret file by Schultz, in which he wrote about wondering if other children were being abused by Sandusky and wondered if looking into one incident in 1998 would open a Pandora's box. That's how fucking early they knew. 1998, and this shit happened for another 10 fucking years.
Oh,
Yeah. This literally sickened me being a fucking Penn State football fan. Like, I know the players didn't do anything. A lot of the coaches were innocent and whatnot, but like, just to support the school, it was just,
yeah, that would be a tough time.
yeah.
Go Ducks.
Well, they're coming to the Big Ten now, so get ready. A series of emails from 1998 to 2001 composed the main evidence for the report. And this show, like I said before, Paterno was not innocent here. It showed him following the investigation closely, and he helped persuade the others to now formally report Sandusky to law enforcement or child welfare authorities. Again, a fucking decade before he was caught.
God damn it, Joe Pa.
And like, that's for football fans, not to take away from like everything fuck that's already happened, but that was such like a big blow because it was like, okay, Joe Burrow did the right thing. He was the whatever he did what he's supposed to do, and that came out, and it was just a blow to his image. Everything like it just took away everything he accomplished, the titles, everything. Guided in Penn State for decades, decades. Because you got to remember, he was let go. He was fired and it was just like 6 months later he died. Like that was his life, and
Yeah.
it went for nothing. Like you will never be able to talk about Penn State without mentioning that he covered this up, and it was so bad that the NCAA almost imposed the death penalty on program, which for anyone who doesn't know, basically shuts down the program for multiple years. They did it once to Southern Methodist University, SMU. Pretty sure that's where O.J. Simpson played, if I'm remembering correctly. I think so. Some big running back played there. I think it was O.J. I could be wrong, but basically in the '80s they were caught in a. I'm trying to remember now. I could probably do an episode on it at some other point at the time. But they got caught on one scam. They're cheating in some way or taking bribes or something. They're told, "Hey, stop it," and they stopped for like 3 months. Got caught again, and they just shut down the program. And they were like winning national titles. They were like one of the best programs in the country. Boom. Because yeah, their backfield was called the Pony Express because it was just full of talent and whatnot. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
looked it up, but I'm only seeing Dickerson here.
that's what it's Eric Dickerson. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. The closest thing you can remotely call someone taking action was Curley informing the Second Mile program that Sandusky showered with the boy and told Sandusky to not bring his quote guests to Penn State facilities, but never brought up the sexual abuse. You know, he fucking knew about it. Um, Also, no one restricted Sandusky from having access to Penn State's athletic facilities where some of these fucking crimes happened. We're almost done here. Sandusky would face further allegations and investigations. AB's reported in 2011 that San Antonio police were investigating allegations that Sandusky sexually abused a child when Penn State came to play the Alamo Bowl. In 2012, the Patriot News reported that Sandusky could face federal charges for molesting boys in San Antonio and Tampa in 1999. Now, the feds were involved because this was crossing state lines. It gave them authority. July 2012, PennLife.com reported that 3 men told police that they were abused by Sandusky in the late 70s to 80s. This was the first alleged abuse to occur before the 90s. In August of that year, CBS reported that the U.S. Postal Inspection Service was investigating child porn in relation to Sandusky. Allegedly, child porn was found on a computer of his, but I could not find an actual source that confirmed this. So, very likely it was there, but just take that with a grain of salt. I'm just saying that for, I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know. September 2012, former Philadelphia child prostitute Greg Busaroni alleged that in 1979 and 1980s, philanthropist slash sex predator Ed Savage trafficked him to Sandusky SA College during second mile fundraisers. Yeah,
Oh, that's a lot to
child fucking.
unpack.
Yeah. In October 2012, KDKA-TV reported another individual claimed to be assaulted by Sandusky in the 60s while living in the Brownson house in Washington, PA. Sandusky currently resides at SCI Laurel Highlands, a minimum security facility meant for both the ill and elderly patients. Again, he is elderly right now, so that's where he's at. Sandusky's attorneys still push for a new trial as they claim there's new evidence, and they allege that police, lawyers, and counselors coerced people to make these allegations. However, the judge said, "Fuck off, you did this." So far, there is no new trials coming up or anything like that.
Big going, guy. Fuck you.
That's basically just like, fuck you, you're a horrible, sick individual. You should probably be tortured. Um, this ends my foray into this horrible, diabolical edition of This Gets Worse. If you made it this far, fair warning. Next week, I'm saying the graphically fucked up because I will begin my talk about Dr. Mengele of Nazi Germany, who performed horrible experiments on prisoners in concentration camps.
And what happened to all of his victims? Like, or do they like where are they now?
Well, like they're referred to as victim 1, 2, 3, 4. That was to hide their identity because they're children. There's no like trace of where they went to, what they did with their lives.
What happened to them? There's no like no one's wrote a book called
I think
The Fingers That Touched Me or
Sandusky wrote a book actually.
of course
I
he
ain't
did.
gonna fucking promote it, but I think it came out in like 2011 or something. But I think I know Matt. I think he wrote something, but no one was looking to like make money off of this that way. No one was trying to get any notoriety or anything. They kind of just. I could be wrong. If you're listening to this, do research on this part of it. I mean, you should do research on everything you hear from this podcast if you're really interested in it. Um, but yeah, I didn't see anything myself where they were writing things or doing anything, sharing their own stories.
So no one there's never been any speak out about survival, the kids surviving it, like or one of those like just like I just covered those the trauma of it.
I mean, I would hope they went to therapy and got help and did all that, but there's nothing I saw where they
N-
were
Nobody
publicly
lives
speaking out.
or yeah.
Not that I've seen,
I
no.
mean, you wouldn't want to be known as the kid who got molested
No.
by Sandusky at all.
I'm sure people and like their inner circle know about it, stuff like that. But yeah,
That's insane. That is insane. That's disgusting.
yeah, that was a tough one. That was I legitimately do not know how I made it through writing that.
Yeah, that couldn't even make jokes at that one.
I couldn't like I said, there's a lot of the stuff I went through as a kid too, and it was rough. But that's a topic for another day. Because I believe that will do it for us here at the Rejects. Truly sorry that you had to listen to all this. We hope I can't say I hope you enjoyed this episode. Um, we just appreciate everyone who listens. Stay tuned for this week's bonus episode. Last week we did our injury fantasy draft and did more beer bait. This week, we might do an Easter episode, might do another drunken hoorah. We're just gonna see where the week takes us. Please don't forget to follow us on our socials. If you're gonna come and comment, defend a sexual predator, don't. Not gonna get very far.
Anybody
No.
who has any topic they'd like us to cover, hit us up on our socials and let us know. We would love to hear back from the listeners.
Yeah, give us your suggestions. Please, if there's anything we can do to make ourselves better. This week's quality might be down a little bit because my microphone's not plugged in. That's my fault. Been a long week. Again, we appreciate for listening, all your support. We look forward to sharing more content. Stay tuned to our socials. Probably doing some more beer reviews and booze reviews this week in our TikTok. But until we see you guys next, full fucking send it.
Full send it.
We'll send it.